With its 2,500 chateaux, the Loire Valley is the cradle of the French Renaissance. A heritage of inestimable wealth that requires constant maintenance. State-of-the-art technology, historical research, and period materials. The artists and craftspeople of French heritage innovate to return these gems of the past to their original state. Yannick, a sculptor, is meeting with the owner of Chateau d'Ussé. He must restore the dormer windows of the Renaissance facade.
Hello, monsieur.
The two dormers are of similar style, so we should be able to find the same kind of structure. There are the two angels instead of two beasts, the coat of arms in the middle.
They have the exact same dimensions, and they are indeed similar in terms of decoration.
The chateau is sumptuously decorated. Its Renaissance owners were wealthy and did some wonderful work. But it needs a lot of restoration, especially as they use tuffeau, a local limestone, which is much flakier than other limestones. So when you look at what hasn't been restored, there's often not much left.
Before starting the restoration work, Yannick refers to precise documentation in order to conserve historical authenticity.
This is the Guénière book with the engravings dated 1699, with a beautiful drawing of the coats of arms in the dormers that we're restoring. This is the one you need to copy for the dormer. I'll send you a photo.
Great.
Or a photocopy for the dormer to restore in June.
In his workshop, Yannick doesn't use masonry chisels to sculpt the stone, but wood chisels, like the sculptors of the Renaissance.
We use these wood chisels and gougers for the stone because the region's stone is very soft. I have to make the foliage look very natural. I have to do my best to get inside the mind of the original sculptor.
Getting inside the mind of the artist by using period techniques is also the method of these two specialists in mural paintings who have come to assess some 15th century frescoes.
The two big problems are, one, the flaking plaster, like here, due to damp, which have weakened the painted plaster, and two, these small holes which are man-made and which have ruined the overall surface. So we'll need to fix those.
This figure from the chapel was identically reproduced 50 kilometers away on the site of Muro dell'Arte, a conservatory dedicated to historical research on mural art.
Here, I'm damaging a fragment of the paint, just as it could be damaged naturally, in order to do some cleansing and consolidation tests on it. It's an 18th century building. It has certain pathologies like rising salts and rising damp. And by using copies of the paintings and using the techniques of each period, we'll be able to see how the pathologies were generated on the paint in a few weeks or months.
To treat the fresco's pathologies, the solution they'll apply isn't a chemical product invented in a lab, but a recipe close to the original process.
Our research has shown us that the best methods are ancestral methods. So we researched these ancestral methods and studied them. Then we did some further tests and recreated a methodology.
A few kilometers away is one of the most beautiful chateaux in France after Versailles, the Chateau de Chambord. Its construction was ordered to begin in 1519 by Francis I, and it was completed 120 years later during the early part of Louis XIV's reign. Lanterns, moats, and staircases, here there is constant restoration. But to make it last, some people are studying the origins of the damage, like Kevin Beck, a researcher at the University of Orléans, who specializes in the pathologies of tuffeau limestone.
The tuffeau here is definitely from the original period, meaning the 16th century. It's the original stone of the Château de Chambord. This stone has suffered considerable flaking, with a slab lost here, which was 2 or 3 centimeters thick. Here I'm taking a stone sample from the fissured area, which I'll then analyze in the lab. I want to see if there are pollutants present inside the stone, which could explain the fissuring.
It's back to the lab, where the precious samples are crushed and ground, then carefully analyzed.
Tuffeau limestone has the aesthetic qualities required in the Renaissance period because it's white, very light and easy to carve. But it's also very porous and can easily be altered by its environment. So it's important to monitor it and carry out regular maintenance to increase its durability.
Beyond the pathologies of stone, other scientists specialize in the 3D examination of artworks and masonry. Precious technology for the restoration of historical buildings.
It gives restorers data of an extremely high quality, which allows them to be very precise during restoration work, either in advance, in terms of knowledge of the object, or later in the process when they're treating materials and restoring them.
High tech in the service of knowledge. Between historical research, know-how, and technological innovations, the heritage of the Loire Valley still has a very bright future.
In the past few days, tensions have flared in Mali. Anti-French sentiment and increasing Russian influence are stirring up feelings. This against a backdrop of nationalism and Pan-Africanism promoted by the military junta. Countries in the Sahel are tempted to follow the so-called Mali Way path, made of coup d'etat and populism, at a critical time for French military engagement in the region.
La Chine va travailler dans le sens de rapprocher le Mali et le CEDEAO.
Watch Reporters, Mali, the Russian Path, on France 24 and France24.com.